Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to be talking about Dungeons & Dragons. Specifically, Matt Mercer and his ability to draw and what it means in the context of wielding power. Let's talk about it. All right, so recently Matt Mercer, I saw this on Twitter. There's an unbelievably awesome, informative community of Dungeons & Dragons creators on Twitter. It's like the D&D Twitterverse. It's awesome. So I think it was one of the critters, put a picture of Matt Mercer physically drawing a character on a Wacom tablet. And the character he was drawing was an OC, an original character, from Vox Machina, from the Mighty Nine. Okay? Which is, of course, the new player character base within Matt Mercer's Dungeons & Dragons game, which is the most famous and the most watched Dungeons & Dragons game in the world, bar none. Okay? So here's the thing. This picture of Matthew Mercer drawing a picture of an original character from the Mighty Nine went onto Twitter, and all the critters are Critical Role fans, kind of just jumped on Twitter and had this love fest about Matt Mercer's ability to draw, right? And we're just really wonderfully thrilled that Matt Mercer is a skilled and capable visual artist, right? And here's the issue. I am not a fan of Matthew Mercer. I do not watch his I don't watch his Dungeons & Dragons game. The reason why, it's kind of a strange reason. I don't begrudge anyone who watches his game, but I'm just going to give you my personal reason why I don't watch Matt Mercer. He allows and encourages cursing in his game. I think that 12-year-old to 18-year-old Dungeons & Dragons dungeon masters are extremely important, and I don't think Matt Mercer does enough to cordon off his game from teenage players. And he's putting in content which I don't think is appropriate for teen players. And I think that, especially when you're a powerful person, we're going to talk about power and Matthew Mercer in a minute, you should be careful about that. So that's my, now, he doesn't own that. He's nobody's parent. He doesn't need to do that, right? And so there should be no, I don't think he should be punished in any way, or, it doesn't take any shine off of his project. It's the reason I don't watch him, and I'm not a fan of him, right? For that reason. To me, if you have as much ability as he has, you should make your content accessible to the youngest dungeon masters, who are 12 to 18. And those aren't just dungeon masters who are they're part of our community. The game is for 12 and up. And I think that people should make their content available to all dungeon masters. It's inclusive, right? And I feel it's a little odd that Matthew Mercer is all about inclusivity until it comes to 12 to 18-year-old DMs. And I don't think he's ever done anything to say, I'm going to exclude them, but he does exclude them by making content that any reasonable parent would say, nope, that's not for you. Out. So that's my reason why I don't watch him. And I have to say, I'm not a fan. I have to admit, right? I'm not a fan of Matt Mercer. The reason why I'm talking about him is Matt Mercer is incredibly connected to the success of Dungeons & Dragons at this point. I actually think he's the most powerful catalyst right now that determines what happens with Dungeons & Dragons, even more than the design team. Now, once Dungeons & Dragons 6, and the reason why is the Dungeons & Dragons design team is virtually doing nothing right now. It doesn't matter if any new adventures come out. The game's going to be fine. The design work is done. The only real design work that matters at this point is 6th edition design work, and nobody's talking about that. So functionally, the design team has less impact on the game and does less to grow the game than Matthew Mercer does right now. Matthew Mercer does more to grow the Dungeons & Dragons game right now in 2019 than anyone else. As soon as D&D 6e design work is public, that will end, because then the design team will be back and they will be steering the ship for what happens with Dungeons & Dragons. But right now, Matthew Mercer is steering the ship functionally for Dungeons & Dragons. I think there's an incredible amount of importance that's attached to Matthew Mercer, okay? Now, here's my point. I think Matthew Mercer should not have publicly drawn that character and should not have shown the critters or anyone else that he has the ability that he is a skilled and capable visual artist. Now, it's kind of an unusual thing for me to say, so I'll explain why I think that. All right, here's the reason why I think that. So Matthew Mercer is one of the most successful people in the Dungeons & Dragons community. He recently got married to Marisha Ray, right? So now he's a happily married person, and he has something which fewer and fewer people have. I feel like going forward, really, being married and having or acquiring children is really, it's an activity of the wealthy. I really think it's quickly, because especially in developed nations. In developed nations, that's essentially an activity of the wealthy, and only the wealthy do it anymore, right? So, but socially, he's been incredibly successful, right? He's just accomplished one of the most lauded activities that you can do as a person socially, right? All right. So he's had social success. He's had incredible commercial success. His commercial success is work on television, voice works on television, movies, and video games. And then commercial success on taking Critical Role and severing all ties to Geek and Sundry, which helped bring Critical Role to the fore and making it independent. Incredible commercial success, right? So Matt Mercer has incredible commercial success. Matt Mercer has incredible artistic success. Artistic success. Here's where. He has had incredible success in showing distinct works of art that some of are peerless, right? In voice acting in movies, television, and video games. And then on the D&D side, he is it is unarguable, right? Actually, it is now widely accepted that Matt Mercer is the best dungeon master on the planet, right? And in addition to that, he recently finished Taladora campaign setting, right? Which is an incredible writing success, right? So he is creative, he showed great creativity as a dungeon master. He showed incredible success as a writer, right? So he has this artistic and this writing success, and all that comes together as incredible artistic success. He has had incredible success socially, commercially, artistically, right? So here's the strange thing. When he showed that he is a visual artist, a fully capable visual artist, right? It was win more, okay? Here's the problem with it. I'm going to explain this, right? I only understand this because I played Magic the Gathering, and I learned something very important in Magic the Gathering, which is the concept of win more. Here's the problem with Matthew Mercer showing people that he's a fully capable visual artist, okay? Here's why. All right, there's a card called Crucible of Dragons. Pretty sure that's, yeah. And it is all dragons get +3/+3, okay? And I think it might be called Crucible of Fire. I apologize if I got that title wrong. But it is all dragons get +3/+3. It's a win more card, okay? Now, Crucible of, I'm going to call it Crucible of Fire. So Crucible of Fire, all dragons get +3/+3, okay? If you put down 3 dragons, you're gonna win. When you fly in, dragons at least have a 3/3, right? So you now have at minimum 3 6/6 dragons coming in, right? That's 18 points, right? And you can win just a few turns into the game, and you're not. And even then, you only need to do 20 points to win a game, right? So usually with Crucible of Dragons, you will win the game. You need 20 points to defeat your opponent with Crucible of Fire, excuse me. I'm sorry I got that title wrong. So I think the point still stands. So with Crucible of Fire and all dragons get +3/+3, you will usually win your game by 10, 20, or even 30 point margin, right? Now here's the kicker. It's a win more card, right? But most good Magic the Gathering players do not use win more cards. And the reason why is they're like, you're better off going with Lightning Strike. Lightning Strike is a win card. It is a win card. Lightning Strike is deal 3 damage to any target. It costs 1 red and 1 uncolored. It's very mana efficient, and it does its job well, right? And if you just use win cards, you will win more frequently than you win with win more cards. So with a win more card, you can crush your opponent. You can win with devastating effect, beating your opponent by double the amount of damage that is even required to win the game, right? And so it's dramatic and it looks cool, right? But with win more cards, Magic the Gathering players know, good Magic the Gathering players know, that win more cards, you actually win less frequently. And then if you just use win cards, you win more frequently. And that's my point about Matthew Mercer showing the world that he is a fully capable visual artist, right? Here's why I think it was a mistake for Matthew Mercer to show the world that he is a fully capable visual artist, right? I think the reason why is there's absolutely no reason for Matthew Mercer to show the world that he is a polymath, that he is a person with multiple levels of knowledge and multiple areas of knowledge. And the reason why was he's already shown the world he is a win card. He is a lightning strike, right? He is full of win, and he can win as often as possible, right? But by showing the world that he has this entire skill set that tens, if not well over 100,000 of his own followers desperately are filling this one niche that he did not do, right? There are tens of thousands, probably well over 100,000 of his fans that do incredible fan art of the OCs on Critical Role, right? And so they come in and they do all this art. But when Matthew Mercer puts out his statement, right, like when he shows the world that he is a very capable visual artist, what he's doing is he's saying, I'm socially successful, I'm commercially successful, and I'm artistically successful, but you don't only know 2 areas of my artistic win. You need to know the third. And guess what? This third one, I don't even use it. It's completely superfluous. It's like a vestigial tail, right? Like, it is a complete and utter waste within my capability, right? And the reason why is I don't have enough time to do all the voice work I already do, right? I already am pressed to do all the creative work I want to do on Dungeons and Dragons, right? And I'm winning at every level, but I want to show the world that I have this entire skill set that others are desperately trying to turn into careers, and that may be their only real value, but I just want to show, like, I am going to show 100,000 of my viewers that your work is actually, even your work is superfluous. I could replace any of you, right? And here's the kicker. People already were feeling this about his dungeon mastering, right? Go over to Take 20. It's a fantastic D&D commentary area. And Cody from Taking 20 just did an amazing coverage of thousands of dungeon masters that are getting from their players saying, hey, your game, I know you wrote a great story there, and I know you bought hundreds of dollars in minis, and I know that you, bought pizza for us, but the reality is, I watch a game every single week. Where are the voices? Where are all the other people who have a wonderful friendship, right? Why is your game so incredibly overshadowed by Matthew Mercer's game? Why is the game that we just played such a shriveled shadow of the game I've seen Matthew Mercer run, right? So there are already thousands of dungeon masters who have thousands of players who are telling them, why aren't you Matthew Mercer? And this was before Matthew Mercer came forward and said, I'm now unveiling a new skill set that many of you didn't know I had. The skill set that you've spent hundreds of hours or thousands of hours, mastering, I have that one too. And I don't even use it because I don't have enough room in my life. And because I have thousands of people who, I already have professionals who will do this. It's just extra win. It's win more, right? And that's my issue. I think Matthew Mercer should not have shown the world his visual artistry. And the reason why is his win was too high already, right? Incredible. The reason why I think he did this, I do not think he meant to hurt anyone. I don't think that at all. I think the reason why Matthew Mercer made this mistake is he is a fascinating example of people who gain power who never sought to get it, right? He has power. He has an incredible power. He has a power over industry. He has a power over Dungeons & Dragons. He has power over the TRPG industry, right? But I think he doesn't want to acknowledge it, because with power, with great power, comes great responsibility. And I'll tell you right now, I don't think for 1 second Matthew Mercer ever pursued having great responsibility, right? And I think right now he's wrestling. I don't even think he started wrestling with the idea of having great power or great responsibility, right? And this is one of the things, I think when you have great responsibility, one of the things you adopt is you put on a cloak of humbleness. And I think that Matthew Mercer is not going to get here. He's not going to understand that he needs to social humility until he understands that he has great responsibility. And I think we're a long way away from that. And the reason why is I don't think he even realizes or recognizes or wants to acknowledge that he has great power already. That's my take. I'm more than willing to hear if I'm wrong on this, right? Let me know in the comments below. I would really appreciate it. And please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.